Have you ever found yourself thinking about the future, maybe even the distant future, and felt a little ripple of fear or uncertainty? It's completely natural as we get older, especially as we approach or pass that 75-year mark. Thoughts about the end of life can become more present. It's something we often avoid talking about, perhaps because it feels heavy, or perhaps because we simply don't know what to expect. This silence, this fear of the unknown, can create a painful reality, a sense of dread or anxiety about a process that is ultimately a natural part of life. But what if I told you that understanding a few key things, some hidden truths about this stage, could actually bring you peace? What if knowing could empower you to live your remaining years with less worry and more joy? In this video, we're going to gently explore 5 often overlooked truths about what happens as we approach the end of life after 75. These aren't things to be scared of, but insights that can help you and your loved ones navigate the future with clarity and confidence. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you, something that might just change how you think about this time entirely. Let's start by talking about the very nature of the physical journey towards the end. One of the biggest hidden truths, something movies and stories rarely show accurately, is that for most people, the end of life isn't a sudden, dramatic event. It's typically a gradual process. We often have this idea in our heads, perhaps from what we've seen portrayed, that it's like a light switch flipping off, or a sudden, unexpected collapse. While those things can happen, especially with sudden illnesses or accidents, the reality for many, especially those living with chronic conditions or simply aging naturally, is a slow, gentle winding down. Think of it less like a sprint to a finish line and more like a gradual deceleration. Like a car slowly running out of fuel rather than crashing into a wall. This gradual decline isn't something to be feared, but something to understand and prepare for. It means there are often signs, changes that happen over weeks, months, or even years. Energy levels decrease, appetite might lessen, sleep patterns change, and the body becomes more fragile. Activities that were once easy become difficult, then perhaps impossible without assistance. This isn't a failure. It's the body's way of preparing for rest. Understanding this gradual nature is empowering. It allows for planning and adjustment. It gives you time to decide how you want to spend your days, who you want to spend them with, and what truly matters. It opens the door for conversations with family and doctors. Instead of a crisis, it can be a phase of life focused on comfort, connection, and reflection. It's a time where quality of life takes precedence over aggressive medical interventions that might offer little benefit but cause significant discomfort. This is where palliative care and hospice care come in, and they are incredibly important hidden truths themselves. Palliative care can begin at any stage of a serious illness and focuses on providing relief from the symptoms and stress of the illness, things like pain, nausea, fatigue, and difficulty breathing. It aims to improve quality of life for both the patient and the family. Hospice care is a specific type of palliative care for people who are nearing the end of life, usually within the last 6 months. Though this can be hard to predict, it provides comfort and support, managing symptoms so you can live as fully as possible. Many people have a misconception that hospice means giving up, but it's the opposite. It's about shifting the focus from curing to caring. It's about dignity, comfort, and being surrounded by loved ones. It often allows people to spend their final days at home, in familiar surroundings, which is what most people prefer. My own grandmother, bless her heart, was so afraid of ending up in a hospital intensive care unit. When the time came, understanding hospice meant she could stay in her own bed, look out at her garden, and be surrounded by her children and grandchildren. That peace is a hidden truth worth knowing. It changes the fear of a cold, clinical end into the possibility of a warm, comforting transition. It's about living well until the very end, not just enduring. It means focusing on moments of joy, connection, and peace, even when the body is tiring. It's about finding beauty in the small things, a grandchild's laugh, the feel of a soft blanket, a favorite piece of music. This gradual slowing is not a defeat. It's a gentle invitation to embrace rest and find comfort in the present moment. It allows for a more peaceful and dignified passage than the sudden scenarios we often fear. It's about ensuring that your final chapter is written with comfort, love, and peace as the main themes. Now, tied very closely to this gradual process is another hidden truth: your priorities will likely shift dramatically. The things that seemed all-consuming earlier in life, career achievements, financial worries, keeping up with the latest trends, even bustling social calendars, tend to fade into the background as you get older, especially after 75, and as your body naturally slows. The focus tends to narrow to what is truly essential. What are those essentials? Relationships become paramount. Time with children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Dear friends, these connections become the most valuable currency. Shared stories, simple moments of presence, holding a hand, offering a smile. These mean more than any material possession or worldly accomplishment. You might find yourself wanting to mend old fences, express love and gratitude more freely, and simply be with the people who matter most. It's a shedding of the superficial and a deepening into the fundamental human need for connection. Another priority that rises to the top is comfort. Physical comfort. Of course, being free from pain, being warm, having nourishing food, getting good rest, but also emotional and spiritual comfort. Finding peace of mind, resolving internal conflicts, connecting with your faith or spiritual beliefs, and feeling a sense of closure or acceptance. This isn't about giving up on life. It's about redefining what a rich life means in its final stages. It's about finding joy in simplicity. A sunny day, a good cup of tea, the purr of a cat, a comfortable chair, looking through old photographs, listening to favorite music. These simple pleasures take on profound significance. The pressure to constantly do, achieve, and strive often falls away, replaced by a desire to simply be, to soak in the moments, and to find contentment in stillness. This shift in priorities is incredibly liberating for many people. It allows you to let go of stresses that no longer serve you and focus on what brings genuine peace and happiness in the here and now. It's a time for reflection, for appreciating the journey, and for savoring the present. It's a hidden truth that this phase can be a period of unexpected beauty and profound connection, precisely because the external pressures have diminished, allowing the heart to focus on its deepest needs. It is a time to lean into love, acceptance, and the quiet beauty of simply being alive. This reframing from fear of physical decline to embracing a focus on comfort, love, and peace is transformative. It is one of the most powerful hidden truths that can alleviate anxiety about the future. Now that we've touched on the gradual nature of the physical process and the powerful shift in priorities that often occurs, let's move on to another significant hidden truth that often causes immense fear: the fear of pain. So many people dread the end of life because they imagine it will be filled with unbearable suffering. This fear is deeply ingrained, perhaps from stories we've heard or outdated portrayals. But here's the truth: modern medicine, particularly in palliative and hospice care, is incredibly effective at managing pain and other uncomfortable symptoms. Pain is not an inevitable part of the dying process. With the right care and pain management strategies, most people can remain comfortable and alert. Doctors and nurses specializing in palliative care are highly skilled at assessing pain, anticipating needs, and adjusting medications to keep you comfortable. They use a variety of tools, not just strong painkillers, but also techniques to manage nausea, shortness of breath, anxiety, and other distress. Think about it. Medical science has advanced so much. While it might not always be able to cure every illness at this stage, it is very good at controlling symptoms and ensuring comfort. Pain management is a primary focus, and it's treated proactively. This means healthcare providers are looking out for potential discomfort and addressing it before it becomes severe. They understand that comfort allows you to engage with loved ones, to reflect, and to maintain your dignity. This is a truth that can lift a heavy burden of fear. You don't have to face the future expecting relentless suffering. Instead, you can have confidence that there are skilled professionals who can provide relief and ensure you are as comfortable as possible. Knowing this can change the whole perspective from one of dread to one of trust and peace. It means you can focus your energy on living your remaining time fully, rather than being consumed by worry about future discomfort. It's about understanding that comfort is a priority in end-of-life care, and that there are dedicated teams whose sole purpose is to ensure your symptoms are managed effectively. Moving on. Here's another truth that might surprise you. You might spend less time in hospitals than you think or fear. While hospitals are essential for diagnosing and treating acute illnesses, as people approach the end of life, especially after 75, there's a growing recognition and preference for care provided in familiar, comforting environments, primarily at home. For many years, the default might have been repeated hospitalizations as health declined. But the focus of modern end-of-life care, particularly through hospice services, is to support people in their own homes if that's their wish. Being at home allows you to be surrounded by your own things, your memories, and the people you love. Without the disruption and clinical feel of a hospital, hospice teams provide comprehensive support at home, including nursing care, pain management, help with personal care, emotional and spiritual support, and respite for family caregivers. This shift means that the last weeks or months of life can often be spent in the environment where you feel most comfortable and secure. It allows for a greater sense of normalcy and control. You can set your own schedule, eat your own food, and have visitors whenever you like, without the restrictions of a hospital. Of course, sometimes hospitalization is necessary if symptoms become too difficult to manage at home. But the goal of good end-of-life planning and care is often to minimize these stays. Knowing this hidden truth can alleviate the fear of spending your final days hooked up to machines in an unfamiliar hospital room. It opens up the possibility of a peaceful, home-based transition, surrounded by love and comfort. It emphasizes the importance of making your home a comfortable and supportive environment, and of utilizing the resources available, like hospice care, to make this preference a reality. It underscores the fact that the final stages of life can still be lived with dignity and comfort in the place you call home. And finally, the fifth hidden truth, and perhaps one of the most practical and impactful ones: leaving things unplanned creates significant stress and difficulty for your loved ones. It's natural to avoid thinking about wills, advance directives, and funeral preferences. It feels like confronting the inevitable head-on, and who wants to do that? But here's the reality: by not making your wishes known and putting necessary plans in place, you unintentionally leave your family to make difficult decisions during a time of grief. They have to guess what you would have wanted regarding medical care if you can no longer speak for yourself, what to do with your belongings, and how you'd like to be remembered. This guessing game adds an immense burden of stress, potential conflict among family members, and uncertainty to an already painful time. The hidden truth is that making these plans is one of the most loving and generous things you can do for your family. It's a final act of care and protection. Having a clear will ensures your assets are distributed according to your wishes, preventing legal complications and disputes, creating an advance directive, sometimes called a living will, and appointing a healthcare proxy, ensures that your preferences for medical treatment are honored if you become unable to communicate them. Do you want aggressive life support? Or would you prefer comfort measures? Discussing these things now, while you are healthy and able to make your wishes clear, is crucial. talking about your preferences for a funeral or memorial service, or even simpler things like who gets certain sentimental items, lifts the weight of these decisions from your loved ones. It allows them to focus on grieving and remembering you, rather than being consumed by difficult choices and administrative tasks. It might feel uncomfortable to start these conversations or to sit down with a solicitor, but the peace of mind it brings, both to you and your family, is invaluable. It ensures your voice is heard and your wishes are respected. Even when you can no longer advocate for yourself, it is a practical demonstration of your love and care for your family, smoothing the path for them during a challenging transition. This hidden truth highlights that planning isn't just about logistics. It's about emotional and practical support for those you leave behind. It transforms a potentially chaotic and stressful time into a more manageable and peaceful one for your family, allowing them to focus on supporting each other and honoring your memory. Taking these steps is a gift of peace, a final act of love that resonates far beyond your lifetime. So, we've talked about the gradual nature of the physical decline, how priorities often shift dramatically towards relationships and comfort, the incredible effectiveness of modern pain management, the likelihood of spending your final days at home rather than in a hospital, and the crucial importance of making plans to ease the burden on your family. These are the 5 hidden truths. It might feel like a lot to take in, and perhaps a bit heavy, but remember why we discussed them. Not to instill fear, but to bring light and understanding to a natural process. Knowing these things gives you power. It allows you to prepare, to communicate your wishes, to seek out the right kind of care, and most importantly, to focus on living fully right now, with peace and intention. Remember, small changes in perspective, small steps towards planning, can make a big difference in your peace of mind and the well-being of your loved ones. Facing these truths isn't about hastening the end. It's about enriching the time you have left and ensuring your final chapter is lived with dignity, comfort, and love. Don't let fear of the unknown steal your peace. Embrace these truths as guides to living your best life, no matter your age. Open communication with your family and healthcare providers is key. Don't be afraid to ask questions or express your wishes. Seek out information on palliative care and hospice services in your area. Consider discussing your end-of-life preferences with a solicitor or using online resources to help you create advanced directives and a will. These steps are investments in your future peace and your family's well-being. They allow you to maintain control over your care and ensure your values are respected. It's about making conscious choices now that will benefit you and your loved ones down the road. And here's something that might surprise you. Something I promised at the beginning. For many people who have accepted these truths and made preparations, the final stage of life is not a time of despair, but often a period of profound peace, reflection, and connection. The shedding of worldly concerns allows for a focus on what truly matters: love, forgiveness, gratitude, and spiritual peace. It can be a sacred time, a time of deep intimacy with loved ones, a time to share wisdom and stories, and a time to find quiet contentment. It's a surprising truth that facing the reality of the end can lead to a richer, more meaningful present. It liberates you from the fear and allows you to embrace the beauty and depth of this final stage of life. It is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to find peace even in the face of mortality. I hope this conversation has been helpful and perhaps even a little bit comforting. It takes courage to think about these things, and I commend you for doing so. What are your thoughts or experiences with these topics? Have you encountered any of these truths in your own life or with loved ones? Sharing your perspective might help someone else who is grappling with these same thoughts. Please feel free to share your comments below. I read every single one, and it's a valuable way for us to learn from each other. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. That tells me this kind of content is helpful to you. And if you'd like more honest, encouraging conversations about navigating life's later chapters with wisdom and peace, be sure to subscribe to the channel We're building a community here of people supporting each other to live their best lives at every age. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, understanding doesn't take away the natural feelings that come with thinking about the end, but it can replace fear with peace and empower you to live the rest of your life with intention and love. Live your best life at every age.